Chapter 21. Hearing Hua Lingwei's question, the resentment in Zhou Kexin's heart disappeared without a trace. She squatted on the ground once again and lowered her head. Without looking at her expression, she should be able to guess how red her little face was. Zhou Kexin shyly said, "I don't know." "Ah dash, you've been kissing him for so long, how could you not know? I guess you don't want to tell me, huh? Coxon, you know I grew up with you, but there's no difference between mine and yours, except for that dream skin cream I didn't share with you, and even that dream skin cream I didn't give you to use later. I can't imagine that my best friend who I've been playing with since childhood is such a person." Hua Lingwei was a person with a strange mind, and her talent for scheming only lay in teasing people, so what she had just said was simply a calculation against Zhou Kexin. As expected, Zhou Kexin felt embarrassed herself after hearing what Hua Lingwei had said. Zhou Kexin stood up and walked to Hua Lingwei, pulling Hua Lingwei's hands and pleading, Wei, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I really don't know how to tell you how I felt when I kissed Chen Huan. If you don't know how to say it, just say it slowly, I'm not in a hurry anyway." Hua Lingwei was happy. She knew that Zhou Kexin was already willing to share the secrets of her heart with her. Actually, that feeling is very strange. It feels very sweet and happy in my heart, and I want time to stay at that moment. Zhou Kexin described. "Did he put his tongue in your mouth then?" Hua Lingwei asked seriously. Zhou Kexin shook her head and said, "No. And did you put your tongue in his mouth?" Hua Lingwei asked again. "And no, do you have to stick your tongue in the other person's mouth to be kissing? And what if they bite my tongue?" Zhou Kexin asked a very idiotic question. There is no way that there are pros and cons. She was born in a rich family, she grew up with the rich, her friends are rich children, her relatives are rich people. Even if she wanted to find a child from a poor family to be her friend, his family would not agree, so this social experience she hasn't had as much as ordinary people. "Ah dash, Kexin, I now know that you are so simple, you don't even know how to kiss." Hua Lingwei smiled. "Then have you ever kissed?" "Humph, and you're still talking about me." Zhou Kexin pouted her little mouth, dissatisfied. Hua Lingwei took Zhou Kexin's hand and said with a smile, "All right Kexin, don't be angry. What I mean is that on TV those male and female protagonists kissing all stick their tongues into each other's mouths, that's why I asked like this, don't be angry ha." "Why Wei, do you think I'm not very unpleasant? Look, I've taken the initiative to kiss him so much and he's stunned without any reaction." Zhou Kexin was sad. "If you were a very unpleasant person, would you have so many suitors? Chen Huan has no reaction to you, that's because he's not in love with you, so you should understand. It's me instead. I'm not much worse looking than you, but I'm so stunned that no boy dares to pursue me. Alas dash, none of the boys nowadays look like men." Hua Lingwei was depressed. Zhou Kexin covered her small mouth, he laughing, "Who made you so fond of catching people? Just that former that Li Ming chased you not 2 days, and then the others almost went into the psychiatric hospital. In the end it was your father personally came to the door to apologize only to level this matter. After that those are also more or less the same, we're all scared of you. I think if I was a boy dash. I'm not afraid to chase you either. After all, life is more important than anything else." "Oh, am I that bad?" Hua Lingwei was pitiful. Zhou Kexin and Hua Lingwei were in a much better mood after being too outside for a long time, so she took Hua Lingwei's small hand and went inside the villa again. As soon as she entered, she began to look for Chen Huan, although she still quite hated Chen Huan, when she had to admit that she cared for Chen Huan a lot, probably because how much she hated, how much she loved. Zhou Kexin didn't find Chen Huan, so she called out to an attendant and asked the waiter, "Did you see the man I just brought in?" "Oh, you mean your boyfriend? He's right there." That waiter pointed to a corner. Zhou Kexin felt strange, she didn't see Chen Huan in the corner. I only saw a group of teenage girls chatting hip-hop there. Could it be that Chen Haoxian was hiding inside that group of girls? Zhou Kexin pulled Hua Lingwei to the corner that the waiter had just pointed to, and as she approached, she heard a petite girl shout, "Honey, you eat this grape, it's very sweet, come I'll feed you. Hubby, I'll help you massage ha." Another young girl's voice. Zhou Kexin squeezed into the crowd and saw that these girls were surrounded by Chen Haoxuan and all of them were serving Chen Haoxuan like maids, which made her anger burn again and she shouted, "Chen Haoxuan, what are you doing?" Hearing the voice, Chen looked up and found that it was Zhou Kexin. "I'm not doing anything. I'm just chatting with these cute and pretty little beautiful brows." Chen Haoxian smiled. "Chen Haoxuan, I hate you to death." Zhou Kexin turned her head and walked away after saying that. She was really angry, her heart was sore, yes she was jealous. Chen Haoxuan was so nice to these girls but treated her like a stranger. Could her heart feel better? "Kxian, come over here and say hello to these uncles of yours." Zhou Xiang waved to his daughter. Zhou Kexin walked over nicely and greeted each of her dad's best friends. "Hello Uncle Li, hello Uncle Zhou, hello Uncle Huang, hello Uncle Hua." "Kexin didn't you bring your boyfriend? Where's your boyfriend? Why don't you bring it over for us to see?" Li Jun smiled kindly. He was the one who developed the industrial zone. All of his industrial zones were used to rent out to other manufacturers, and because there were so many industrial zones, he made more money just by collecting rental fees than starting a company. "He's not my boyfriend, I just lied to those people." Zhou Kexin exhaled. She got angry at the mention of Chen Haoxuan. "Then aren't you a loss? You even sent out your own kisses, huh?" Li Jun laughed. Hua Tianyu was very happy when he heard Zhou Kexin's words. He said excitedly, "Kexin, do you not like him?" "He's not my boyfriend, why should I like him? Besides, he's the kind of person to give it to me, I don't want it either." Zhou Kexin exhaled. "That's great, I thought you liked him. It's easy if you don't like it." Hua Tianyu was pleased. "What, I don't like him, and it's easy for Uncle Walt?" Zhou Kexin was torn between the questions. "If you don't like him, I can let my daughter Vivian go after him." Hua Tianyu is astonishing, and he actually lets his own daughter go after Chen Haoxuan. Chapter 22. What are you doing? That Chen Hohin is my daughter's boyfriend, how can you let your daughter steal my daughter's boyfriend? Aren't you making the two of them invincible to each other? Zhou Xiang frowned. He had just learned about Chen Haoxuan's talent from Hua Tianyu. He was now very satisfied with Chen Haoxuan. Even if Chen Haoxuan's family was poor, he was still willing to marry his daughter to him. Now his best friend's daughter wanted to steal his future son-in-law. Could he not be anxious? "Cho, that's where you're wrong. Didn't you just listen to Coco? Chen Haoxian is not her boyfriend. He let Chen Haoxian pretend to be her boyfriend in order to escape those suitors. And Kexin has also said that she doesn't like Chen Haoxian, so it's not a robbery, and me letting my Wei go after Chen Haoxian won't affect their friendship." Hua Tianyu explained. Zhou Xiang was anxious. He anxiously said to his daughter, "Kxian, are you having a problem with Chen Haoxian? If it is, forget it, you two can understand each other." Zhou Kexin heard Hua Tianyu's words and felt even worse. She was really confused today. She exhaled, "He's not my boyfriend. Even if I wanted to find one, I wouldn't find one like him. He's the worst boy I've ever seen." Hua Tianyu was very conscienceless and patted Zhou Xiang's shoulder, smiling and laughing. "Old Zhou, it's okay if Kosin doesn't like it. Don't be mad at her, young man. That's the way it is." Hua Lingwei, who had been beside her, spoke out, pulling her dad's hand, shaking it around, and in a petulant voice, she said, "Dad, you didn't even discuss it with people and let them go after Chen Haoxuan. Don't you think that's very disrespectful?" Hua Tianyu turned his head to his daughter. Don't you like Chen Haoxian? Not really. I'm quite impressed with him, but I don't know him very well yet. Aren't you afraid that he's a human being? Hua Lingwei's fatherly voice. You're right, then you'll spend more time with him, and if he doesn't have any bad habits, you'll have to chase him down, okay? What Nabe was serious about his daughter. Got it, Dad. Hua Lingwei was actually still very happy. Chen Haoxuan was a boy full of mystery in her eyes, and she wanted to get to know all about him. While playing around with a group of young girls, Chen Haoxuan was still unaware that someone was plotting against him. At that moment, a man wearing a suit and holding a microphone came out. He spoke loudly through the microphone, "Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hotel Villa. Today is a party hosted by Mr. Zhou, the founder of our city of Xinchen. Mr. Zhou has organized this party in order for you all to be able to do business. Now if you want to dance, please come to the middle of the living room." Very point already waiting for a long time, men began to invite their favorite ladies. Looking at the pair of people dancing in the living room, Zhou Kexin was very envious. She could not help but look over at Chen Haohuan. She was secretly expecting Chen Haoxian to come over and invite her to dance, but unfortunately Chen Haoxian didn't know her heart. If Zhou Kexin wasn't mad at Chen Haoxuan would definitely come over and invite her to dance, but now that Chen Haoxuan wouldn't go, he was afraid that Zhou Kexin wouldn't give him a good look again. "Honey, you go with someone to dance." A young girl sitting next to Chen Haoxuan, fatherly voice to Chen Haoxuan. "I'm not full yet, you can find someone else if you want." Chen Haoxian refused. "The things here are all high-grade goods, even if you have money outside you may not be able to buy them, it's hard to come here." Of course Chen Haoxian wants to cherish it. If it can be packed out, Chen Haoxian would like to pack some to bring back to Chen Yuna to eat. "You're the only one in her heart. Why don't you dance with her?" "Hubby, you don't want to dance with her, so why don't you dance with me?" One by one, the young girls around Chen Haoxuan wanted to dance with Chen Haoxuan. None of them knew what kind of person he was, but it didn't matter to them. All that mattered was that Chen Haoxuan was handsome enough. Hua Tianyu pushed his daughter and then quietly pointed at Chen Haoxian, indicating that her daughter should go and invite Chen Haoxian to dance. Hua Lingwei whispered to her dad, "Dad, I understand what you mean, but I don't know how to dance. I'll be sure to embarrass you at the dance. It's better if you can't dance, you'll go and get Chen Haohuan to teach you." Hua Tianyu smiled. Hua Lingwei thought about it and thought that her dad had a good idea, so she walked slowly towards Chen Haoxian. She didn't know that there was someone behind her who was frowning at her. Needless to say, this person was of course Zhou Kexin. Hua Lingwei walked up to Chen Haohuan and smiled at him. "Chen Haohuan, I want to go dancing, but I don't know how to dance, can you teach me?" Chen Haoxian smiled helplessly. "Actually, I can't dance either." Dancing, actually Chen Haoxuan could, but what he could do was from the future century, like those old-fashioned dances of the 21st century, he had never learned them. He felt too unattached to his identity. Those girls next to Chen Haoxuan were very happy when they heard Chen Haoxuan's words. Wouldn't it be better if Chen Haoxuan didn't know how to dance? "Excuses, I'll teach you how to dance." "Honey, I can dance, I'll teach you." "Honey, you're not getting on with her, are you, Chen Haohuan?" Hua Lingwei questioned to Chen Haohuan. She wanted to shout it herself, "What can I do?" "You want to dance, don't you? Let's go, I'll dance with you." Chen Haoxian said, standing up, pulling Hua Lingwei's hand and walking to the living room. Chen Haoxian was now also a bit annoyed with those young girls that surrounded him, who were overly enthusiastic about him. Hua Lingwei was being held by Chen Haoxuan, which made her heart pounding non-stop. There were very few people who had held her hand, and even fewer males. She felt a very safe and happy feeling being held by Chen Haoxuan. Coming to the living room, Chen Haoxian held Hua Lingwei's small hand in one hand and hugged Hua Lingwei's small waist with the other. Hua Lingwei was the same. they all did the same position as the others. Let's shake it slowly just like them. Chan smiled. Hua Lingwei nodded her head. The two of them just slowly shifted around in the corner. Their dancing was so bad that no one was even paying attention to them. But except for one, she was Zhou Kexin, and Zhou Kexin's little mouth was still pouting to this day. Can I ask you for a dance, Coxon? He Haoming was a gentleman and walked up to Zhou Kexin, smiling. Zhou Kexin thought about it and agreed to dance with Chen Hoxuan and Hua Lingwei to anger her. She would dance with He Haoming and in turn anger him. Chapter 23. He Haoming was so happy to see Zhou Kexin agree to dance with him that he almost wanted to kiss Zhou Kexin, but fortunately he held back, otherwise it would all be for nothing. What Zhou Kexin didn't expect was that as soon as she and He Haoming went to the dance, Chen Hoxuan and Hua Lingwei left. This was good. She had wanted to take He Haoming to be angry with Chen Haoming, but now that Chen Haoming was gone, there was no need for her to dance with He Haoming anymore, so how could she get rid of He Haoming? Zhou Kexin was beginning to get tangled up. It's too boring to dance like this, might as well sit down and enjoy the food. Chen Hoxuan took Hua Lingwei's small hand. I feel the same, it's not fun at all to shake it off. Hua Lingwei echoed. Chen Hoxuan and Hua Lingwei both looked for an empty room, then called the waiter up and had the waiter bring many delicious delicacies into the room. Here, to the delicious delicacies, cheers. Chen Hoxuan raised his tall glass to Hua Lingwei. With a clang, the two glasses collided together, making a pleasant sound. Cheers. Hua Lingwei was happy. She didn't expect that Chen Hoxuan's hobbies were similar to hers, which made her feel more and more good about Chen Hoxuan. The two of them arrived well, able to enjoy the world for two. Zhou Kexin's side wasn't ideal. She had just found an excuse to leave and was accidentally caught by He Haoming again, and now she kept pestering her, unable to shake it off even if she wanted to. Chen Hoxuan, will she be unhappy that Kexin spent so much money to ask you to accompany him to the party, and now you're hiding here with me to enjoy the food? Hua Lingwei asked worriedly. Whatever. Anyway, the purpose of her inviting me here is to escape those suitors of hers, and I've already helped him settle those suitors and accompanied her to the party, so I'm kind of free now. You saw it just now, she even kissed me forcibly, and didn't even pay me. She's still mad at me even though I've suffered a loss. What kind of thing is this? Chen Hoxuan was unhappy. Hua Lingwei covered her small mouth and laughed. I don't know what to say to you. You should feel proud and satisfied when a girl kisses you. How can you let someone else pay to kiss you? This is a question about a girl's self-esteem. Besides, Kxin is the daughter of a wealthy family and the flower of our school, and with her status and price, isn't it humiliating for you to ask her for kissing money? Can she not be angry? I'd be mad too if I were. Said so, but she didn't say anything about a kiss when she invited me over. You know what? What she took away today was my first kiss. Yeah, my first kiss is worth 10,000 RMB anyway, right? Chen Haoxian frowned. Chen Haoxian himself was also horny, but he only lusted after women he liked, like Zhou Kexin, who only wanted to use him. He didn't even want to strip naked. I secretly tell you, Coxon's is also the first kiss, so to speak. You both aren't losing out. First kiss for first kiss. Hua Lingwei smiled. Why no loss? I don't like her. Why should I give her my first kiss? Look at the count to give. I'd rather give it to you than to a stingy little woman like her. Chen Haoxian muttered. The speaker had no intention of listening. Hua Lingwei blushed shyly, and she suspected that Chen Hoxuan was hinting at her, trying to tell her that what he liked was not Zhou Kexin, but her Hua Lingwei. Can I call you Weiwei? Chen Hoxuan suddenly asked Hua Lingwei. She felt that she should set up a relationship with these rich kids. It should help him in the future. Dang can. Hua Lingwei shyly responded. Weiwei, I'm doing a small business and would like to meet some people who do small business, can you help me introduce some of them? The big business ones won't be necessary, I don't have the ability to work with someone who does big business yet. Chen Hoxuan was serious. There's plenty of them downstairs, I know them all, so why don't I go get a few up here now and introduce them to you? Hua Lingwei was cheerful. Then it's troublesome for you. Chen Hoxuan was happy. Hua Lingwei's efficiency in doing things could not be said, and when she came back again, she was followed by 5 or 6 people, both boys and girls, and their ages were all around 25. Let me introduce you guys, this is Chen Hoxuan, he is a student for now, my dad predicted that he will be a billionaire business genius in the future, he is not for now, so you better suck up to him now, otherwise when he becomes a billionaire, he won't be so easy to suck up to. Hua Lingwei used a very humorous way to introduce Chen Hoxuan. Wai Wei is joking la. If I was really that powerful, I wouldn't be as down and out as I am now. Chen Hoxuan smiled modestly. You can't say that, you know that CEO Hua Tianyu, is a very successful businessman, and the fact that he assessed you so highly proves that you're good at it. By the way, I forgot to introduce myself, my name is Zhang Tiankai, I'm in the mobile phone business. Zhang Tiankai smiled at Chen Hoxuan. My name is Zhang Xianghan, I sell clothes. A mature beauty introduced herself. He shook hands with each of them, then Chen Haohuan talked to them about doing business. Hua Tianyu didn't know where he heard that Chen Haoxian was talking business with someone else, he also ran to the room where Chen Haoxian was. It was also fortunate that the room in this hotel villa was about the same size as an ordinary living room, otherwise it wouldn't be crowded to death. Hua Tianyu is rich and generous, saying that Chen Haoxian does not have to do those small business, give him as a consultant, 1 million a month salary, but also get 1% of the shares of the Hua Group as a benefit. This is not an ordinary low treatment, but Chen Hoxuan is a person, he has not seen any world. Hua Tianyu as his subordinate is more or less the same, even let him Hall of Chief Professor as a subordinate, this is simply a big talent, Chen Hoxuan very direct refusal. Hua Tianyu still won't give up, he thought that Chen Hoxuan is too low salary, so he added another 1 million monthly salary, but Chen Hoxuan still refused. Chen Haoxian is worried that Hua Tianyu is angry, so he explains that he doesn't like to work for others, he likes to be his own boss. Hua Tianyu seems to be very optimistic about Chen Haoxian, and instead of getting angry, he listens to Chen Haoxian's words and says that he will support Chen Haoxian for 1 million RMB to do business with Chen Haoxian, on the condition that he will take care of the Hua Group more when Chen Haoxian becomes rich. Hua Tianyu was a multimillionaire and his total assets were in the hundreds of millions, so his high opinion of Chen Hoxuan was enough to prove his value, so other people also started to ask Chen Hoxuan if there was anything they needed to help. Chen Haoxian he didn't like to owe favors to others, he believed that favors were the hardest thing to return, so he would never ask for favors until he had to. Chen Haoxian decided that he was going to open an online shop, and for the time being, he would take some mobile phones to sell at Zhang Tiankai's place, and some girls' clothes to sell at Zhang Xianghan's place, and as for the rest, he would look at them first. Chapter 24. This night, Chen Haoxian went back very late, he was very sensational before he left, because he left with 2 bags of things, one bag was wine and drinks, the other bag was all kinds of food, Chen Haoxian was trying to take back to give Chen Yuna a taste. The people who come here have at least a few million RMB, and people like them won't pack them up to eat, it's a matter of face. That's why they were so surprised when they saw Chen Haoxian carrying 2 bags of goods back, and they all put Chen Haoxian in the category of stingy. When he arrived, he was driving Zhou Kexan's car, which had just made Zhou Kexan angry during the party, so Chen had no choice but to take the bus back. When Chen Haoxian returned to his residence, he could Chen Yuna was lying on the table, her eyes were dull, not knowing what she was thinking. Nana, I'm back. Chen Haoxian shouted out. Hearing the familiar voice, Chen Yuna happily stood up and sweetly shouted, Brother Xian, what the hell are you doing? Coming back so late, you don't know that I was worried about you. Chen Haoxian placed the 2 bags he was carrying on the table, reached out and touched Chen Yuna's head, smiling, didn't I leave a small note on the table? You didn't miss it, did you? I see, but Brother Xian, don't come back so late in the future, I'll be worried. Chen Yuna advised with concern. She could hear that there was a group of thugs around here who often came out at night to rob. All right. I know, I won't be back so late again. By the way, look what I brought back for you, fist-sized lobster, roast duck made to imitate Peking duck, crystal phoenix claws. Chen Haoxian took out everything he brought back. What dash, Brother Xian, did you buy all this? I've heard these things are very expensive. Yeah, it's too much money for you to buy that much, isn't it? Chen Yuna looked happy and distraught, saying. Hee, don't worry. All of this didn't cost a penny, it was all a gift. Since the party I went to where all the spending was fully covered by the founder of the Zhou clan, I took these back for free. Chen Haoxian chuckled. Then what about all the food I made? Chen Yuna pointed at the dishes on the table that were already cold, which were waiting for Chen Haoxian. You eat what I brought back and I'll eat what you made, okay, that's it? Chen Haoxian, seeing that the dishes on the table hadn't moved at all, he knew that Chen Yuna hadn't eaten until now in order to wait for him. He couldn't bear to disappoint Chen Yuna's good intentions, so even if it was cold, he still had to eat. How could Chen Yuna be willing to let Chen Haoxian eat something cold? She put what she cooked into the kitchen, planning to heat it up for breakfast tomorrow morning. The life of a poor person is so hard, eating leftovers is very common. Chen Haoxian is too full today, so he eats and tells Chen Yuna what happened today, and when Chen Yuna hears Chen Haoxian say that he wants to do business, she is very happy. Chen Yuna also tells Chen Haoxian what happened today. Huang Meilin and the others have been moping tonight, the reason is that they can't see Chen Haoxian. The next day, in the morning, Chen Haoxian did not go to school with Chen Yuna again, because he used to go to get goods. He ordered 20 mobile phones from Zhang Tiankai last night. There are hundreds of dollars of cheap goods, and thousands of dollars of high-quality goods. In addition, Chen Haoxian also ordered more than 30 sets of clothes for girls at Zhang Xianghan's, all of which were beautiful and cute, or chosen by Chen Haoxian himself. The first thing you need to do is to take a look at the newest models, which are available in the marketplace. After buying the laptop, Chen Haoxian took a bus to the mobile phone city opened by Zhang Tiankai, and when he arrived at the mobile phone city, Chen Haoxian saw Zhang Tiankai waiting for him at the gate. Tiankai, you're not waiting for me, are you? Chen joked. Of course. Zhang Tiankai smiled. Come, let's go inside and have a cup of tea before we talk slowly. Zhang Tiankai was polite. Not if we have tea, I need to go to Xiang's place later. Chen Haoxian smiled. Alright then, wait a moment, I'll go get the phone you want. Zhang Tiankai said, turning around to enter the mobile phone city he opened, and when he came out, he was holding a large box in his hand. When Chen Haoxian took it, he handed over the 30,000 yuan in cash he had already prepared to Zhang Tianqi, but he didn't expect Zhang Tianqi to refuse to accept it, saying that he would let Chen Haoxian sell all of these phones and then give him the money, and if he couldn't sell it, he would return it to him. Zhang Tiankai was all because of Hua Tianyu's evaluation of Chen Haoxian, and he was gambling just as much as Hua Tianyu and the others that they would be taken care of by Chen Haoxian after he succeeded. Although this was Zhang Tiankai's good intention, Chen Haoxian didn't agree to it and he still forced the money to Zhang Tiankai. Zhang Tiankai couldn't resist Chen Haoxian's persistence, so she accepted it. After that, Zhang Tiankai drove Chen Haoxian to Zhang Xianghan's clothing store, where her clothes are all brand name goods. The 30 sets that Chen Haoxian wants are general brand name goods, 30 sets, Zhang Xianghan only charged Chen Haoxian 20,000 yuan, this is the wholesale price. The phones were taken, the clothes were taken, so Chen Haihuan asked Zhang Tiankai to drive him back. Chen Haihuan put a few of the better looking phones inside his bag and prepared to go back to school. On the way to school, Chen Haoxian bought a used bicycle, 90% new, only $200. Chen Haoxian welcomed that this was stolen by others to sell, otherwise how come it was so cheap? After riding his bike to school and putting it away, Chen Haoxian returned to his classroom, sat next to Chen Yuna, and turned on his computer to start his business career. Chen Haoxian already had a QQ number, and he used his QQ space to create a beautiful exhibition of his products, and then he began to advertise online to the students of Xinjiang City University. The thing that Chen didn't expect was that his advertisement would make the students' network lively, and everyone was asking him about him and Zhou Kexin, why he opened an online shop and so on. The customer is God. In order to gain the goodwill of others, Chen Haoxian is always answering questions. It may be that Chen Haoxian is already a celebrity, soon attracted many students to look at his Q-zone, but most of them are girls, less boys. The phone that Chen Haoxian took are wholesale prices, he is now selling a lot lower than the outside price. For example, outside sell 1,000, he will sell 800, outside sell 2,000, he will sell about 1,017. The reason why so many people do mobile phone stores is because they can make a lot of money if they can sell them. Chapter 25. In the morning, Chen Haoxian only sold one mobile phone and poured out quite a few clothes, leaving Chen Haoxian speechless that the ones who bought things from him were all girls and none of the boys. He also knows why those girls buy his stuff, isn't it just because he is handsome? In the back of his mind, he said, does everyone think I'm a little white guy? Chen Haoxian does business like this, after negotiating the price, you have time he will immediately send you the things you purchased. In order to make his customers more satisfied, Chen Haoxian bought some random wrapping paper and ribbons when he went back to get the goods. When he returned to his residence, Chen Haoxian wrapped up all the clothes and mobile phones that others had already ordered in wrapping paper, and each item was wrapped so beautifully by Chen Haoxian that just by looking at the exterior, others must have thought it was something valuable. After getting it done, Chen Haoxian used his bicycle to carry it back to the University of Xinjiang City. At the entrance of the University of Xinjiang City, Chen Haoxian stopped his bicycle, he took out a few packs of cigarettes and handed them to the security guard at the entrance, and after the security guard's approval, he temporarily consigned the goods in the security room at the entrance of the University of Xinjiang City. Chen Haoxian began to give each item to those buyers personally. Hello, you are Chen, right? You look better in person than in your pictures, and this is the dress you asked for, $530 total, thank you. Also this little thing is a freebie, it's cute and I love it, you can see I have him on my wrist too. Thank you, I really like what you gave me. The girl who received the merchandise was happy, she saw the beads on Chen Haoxian's wrist, and the one Chen Haoxian gave her was exactly the same as Chen Haoxian's own, which made her very happy, as if she suddenly realized that she and Chen Haoxian had something in common. Every customer, Chen Haoxian will send a small gift to them. Don't underestimate this small gift, his power is not small, because customers will think of your shop when they see this small gift, and the small gift Chen Haoxian sent is a very simple but very elegant thing, is a white jade bead with a black string tied. If the customer brought in the hand, her friends may see it and ask where it is from, and then the customer will answer, another person will know Chen Haoxian's shop. Chen Haoxian is very efficient and delivers the goods to each customer in an hour. When Chen Haoxian returned to the classroom, he opened his laptop and found that the business came again, and the person wanted Chen Haoxian's top mobile phone as soon as he could. Chen Haoxian felt that he took business and delivery, it is very troublesome, so he thought of a good idea, let Chen Yuna help him take business, let responsible for delivery, earn money 50/50ths. When Chen Yuna heard that Chen Haoxian proposed to do business with her, She refused without even thinking, because she didn't invest anything to get 50% of the profit. She felt that it was too unfair to Chen Haoxian. If she was asked to invest tens of thousands of dollars and get 50% of the profit, that would be more or less the same. Chen Haoxian was deliberately letting Chen Yuna take advantage of him this way. He had lived with Chen Yuna for so long that he had already treated Chen Yuna as his own sister, and in his eyes, there was no difference between his money and Chen Yuna's money anymore. In order to get Chen Yuna to agree, Chen Haoxian had to put some pressure on Chen Yuna, making Chen Yuna fully responsible for receiving the business and negotiating the price, in addition to an important task, which was to develop the market and open the online store to the outside. In Chen Haoxian's fiddling, Chen Yuna finally agreed, so Chen Haoxian began to run errands his life, every day in the school around, which makes Xinshan City University students basically every day to see Chen Haoxian's figure. Other people come to the university to study, but Chen Haoxian is good, he comes to the university to make money. There were tens of thousands of people in the university, and if he could turn them all into customers, it would be easy for Chen to become a millionaire, because most of them were from rich families. In this day, Chen Haoxian sold 20 sets of clothes and 5 mobile phones, earning over 6,000 yuan. An ecstatic Chen Yuna, after school, celebrated her first day with a bang, so she sold 2 pounds of pig's feet, 1 pound of pork, a chicken, and various vegetables to prepare a big meal for the evening. Before eating, Chen Haoxian used online banking to transfer 50% of today's profit to Chen Yuna's bank card. Seeing that much money, Chen Yuna was very happy, because if the daily business was that good, she wouldn't have to worry about her brother's tuition, her dad's medical expenses, her own tuition, and her family's living expenses. After they ate, they went to Huang Weikan's house together. They had some money now, but they didn't want to lose this tutoring job yet. They had nothing to do at night anyway, so there was no harm in making more money. When Chen Haoxian taught Huang Meilin and the others how to play the piano, he never hid it, and taught them everything he knew. Chen Haoxian is interested in training them, and also wants to change the view of music in this era. As each day passed uneventfully, Chen Haoxian and Chen Yuna's life became better and better, with smiles on their faces every day. But Chen Haoxian and the others were in a good mood, but the weather was in a bad mood. The rain was getting heavier and heavier these days, gradually turning into a storm. Xinshan City University had to suspend classes and give students a week off for their safety. As for going to Huang Weikan's house as a tutor, Chen Haoxian still insisted on going, but he wouldn't let Chen Yuna go, as he was worried about her safety, so he insisted that Chen Yuna stay at home. It was raining so hard and blowing so hard that the Huangs were touched by the fact that Chen Haoxian had come to teach their children. On the 10th of April, the weather was a little better because it wasn't raining for the time being, but the wind was blowing harder than ever, and the weather forecast that Chen Haoxian looked at on the computer yesterday said that there would be a force 7 wind today. The plants and trees on both sides of the road were constantly shaking or bending over, and Chen Haoxian felt difficulty walking on the road. The resistance of the grade 7 wind was too great. In this kind of weather, the general people do not dare to drive, because of the fear of driving when the sky will fall. Hard objects hit the car is fine, the most afraid is to harm the driver. Did not come to the emergency brake car accident. The first thing you need to do is to take a look at the newest models of the newest models, the newest ones. On the way to Huang Weikan's house, Chen Haoxian will pass by a wide river. The river is similar to the sea, because the river is relatively flat. There are no tall buildings or mountains to block the wind, so as long as there is a strong wind, the river will be like the sea will be lang. Chapter 26. Today many people went to the high river, the river that Chen Haoxian was going to pass through on his way to Huang Weikan's house, to see the spectacular sight of the river water lapping against the shore. They are like little kids at the shore, staying at the guardrail of the river. Whenever the river rushes in, they scatter in a huddle, sometimes directly using umbrellas to cover up the water that is pounding high up on the shore. It's not that they don't want to, it's just that it's too dangerous, and if they get blown into the river or swept away by the sea, it's all over. While playing, Jo Kekson accidentally twisted her foot. Ouch, Wai Wei, I twisted my foot. Jo Kekson couldn't stand the pain, so she squatted down. Jo Kekson was unaware that death was beckoning him. A strong wind came and blew the river high. A loud bang, the river water lapped against the shore. When the river receded, Jo Kekson was gone. Hua Lingwei had wanted to help Jo Kekson, but she hadn't come in a hurry to help Jo Kekson. Jo Kekson was swept away by the river. She witnessed it all with her own eyes. She panicked. A piercing scream came from Hua Lingwei's mouth. Wai Wei, what happened to you? A girl who came with Hua Lingwei and the others nervously asked Hua Lingwei. Except for Hua Lingwei, everyone else still didn't know that Jo Kekson had been swept away by the river. Keikaisen was swept away by the river. Whoa, you guys go save her. So, Coxon. A panicked Hua Lingwei cried. She was now really anxious and scared, worried that something would happen to Jo Kexin. Help! Someone's fallen into the river. Help! Help! Some of the people who came with Hua Lingwei and the others were calling the police, some were informing Jo Kekson's family, and some were constantly shouting for help. With such a strong wind and such a swift river, who would dare to go? Help! Help! Suddenly in the river, Jo Kekson's cries for help were heard, but soon the sound disappeared, and Jo Kekson's figure could not be seen in the river. Help, Vivian, save your life. Jo Kekson, who had just been washed up by the river water, hadn't finished speaking before being mercilessly drowned by the river again. Kekson, Kekson. Hua Lingwei can no longer resist running to the river, ready to jump into the river to save Jo Kekson. She is anxiously confused. She cannot swim, going down would not be a dead end. But fortunately, her friend held her back, otherwise Hua Lingwei could have been in distress. The people who came with Hua Lingwei and the others started to ask for help from the people on the shore, but no one dared to go down to the river to save them. In fact, there are still many people who want to save them. After all, the victim and her friends are both beautiful and rich, but when they saw the lang flowers blowing in the river, they couldn't help but shake their heads and silently pray for the victim. Hua Lingwei also began to beg everywhere, "This gentleman, please, please save my friend, okay, please." Oh! Hua Lingwei cried and pulled a middle-aged man, saying, "Miss, it's not that I don't want to save, but the river is too fast and the wind is too strong. If I go down to save someone, I might be drowned myself first before anyone can be saved. So Miss is very sorry, I can't take the risk, I'm really sorry." The middle-aged man shook his head guiltily. Suddenly Hua Lingwei saw a familiar figure. Hua Lingwei saw this person's figure like seeing the dawn. She quickly ran to that familiar figure. Her mouth shouted, "Chen Hoxuan, Chen Hoxuan, quickly save Kexin. Kexin was caught in the river, quickly save her, woo." Hearing Hua Lingwei's weeping voice, Chen turned his head to see Hua Lingwei with tears all over her face. Chen Hoxuan questioned, "Wai Wei, what's wrong with you?" Hua Lingwei ran beside Chen Hoxuan. She hurriedly pulled Chen Hoxuan's hand towards the river as she explained, "Kexin has just been accidentally swept away by the river, you must save her, woo." When Chen Haoxian heard this, he overtook Hua Lingwei in a flash and ran towards the river. The matter of human life was too important to allow him to take his time to consider. "Where is the person? Where is she now?" Chen Haoxian asked anxiously, undressing as he did so. Hua Lingwei pointed to the river and said to Chen Haoxian, "Just that little piece of wood there, just now I saw Kexin right there, but now, woo. Don't worry, she'll be fine." Chen Hoxuan comforted Hua Lingwei and jumped off the railing, and with a thud, Chen Hoxuan fell into the water. Chen Haoxian quickly swam to the location that Hua Lingwei had just pointed out, and after looking around and seeing no sign of Jo Kekson, he dove headfirst into the water. He was not able to find Jo Kekson. He came up for air. Hundreds of pairs of eyes were staring at the river from the shoreline, all of them secretly praying for Chen Hoxuan and Zhou Kexin. It was also fortunate that the water in the river wasn't very murky, so Chen Hoxuan could see things 1 or 2 meters away from the bottom of the river. Suddenly Chen Hoxuan saw a white object at the bottom of the river. Chen Hoxuan's first thought was Zhou Kexin. Chen Hoxuan quickly swam over and found that it really was Zhou Kexin. At the moment, Zhou Kexin was in a coma, and if she didn't breathe, she might leave this world forever. When Chen Haoxian jumped down to save Zhou Kexin, one probably knew that Zhou Kexin had already sunk to the bottom of the river for some time. For the sake of Zhou Kexin's life, Chen Haoxian kissed Zhou Kexin's mouth. To clarify, Chen Haoxian is not taking advantage of Zhou Kexin, he is saving people. He sends the little oxygen in his body to Zhou Kexin through his mouth. Zhou Kexin actually inhaled the oxygen Chen Hoxuan gave her, probably because of his survival instinct. Chen Haoxian gave the little remaining oxygen to Zhou Kexin, which made him now severely deprived of oxygen. He was now 10 meters away from the river. Chen Haoxian drank 2 gulps of water in order to alleviate the hard work of oxygen deprivation, and then swam as hard as he could to the river. Chen Haoxian and Zhou Kexin finally appeared on the surface of the river. Chen Haoxian quickly breathed a few breaths of air, then busy to check Zhou Kexin, found that Zhou Kexin has no air. Chen Haoxian was busy with an empty hand to pinch Zhou Kexin's human middle. After pinching, Zhou Kexin slowly woke up. She coughed some water out, then confused self-talk, "Is this place heaven?" Chapter 27. It's good that it's heaven, just don't move now, I'll save you from the shore. Chen Haoxian panted. He was now severely overexerted, all supported by his strong willpower. Zhou Kexin saw the river only to discover that she wasn't dead. She was saved by Chen Haoxian, although she didn't look back at the person who saved her, but from the sound of her voice she dared to conclude that the person who saved her was Chen Haoxian, the boy who had broken his heart again and again. "Why did you save me? Didn't you hate me so much?" Zhou Kexin asked faintly. As Chen Haoxian swam desperately towards the shore, he replied breathlessly, "I never said that I hated you, you're the one who's thinking too much." After Chen Haoxian finished speaking, a gust of wind brought the river water rolling towards Chen Haoxian and the others once again, and with a whirring sound, Chen Haoxian, who was about to reach the shore, was now washed out by the river water. Chen Haoxian was really tired and wanted to rest now that he really wanted a good night's sleep. But for the sake of Chen Yuna, for the sake of Zhou Kexin, he couldn't just give up like this. Chen Haoxian swam desperately towards the shore, and he shouted loudly to the people on the shore, "Quickly find a rope to tie a floating object and throw it down." There were still some well-meaning people, and one middle-aged man, upon hearing Chen Haoxian's words, quickly turned and ran to a store not far from the river, bought a large bundle of rope in a grocery store, and then ran back to the river, where he picked up an empty bottle that had been washed up by the river, which was plastic and looked like it should have been used to hold oil. After tying the bottle with the rope, the middle-aged man shouted to Chen Haoxian, "Hey, I've tied this bottle with the rope, I'm going to throw it over now, you must grab it." The middle-aged man said and threw the bottle hard at Chen Haoxian, and the bottle with the rope fell 10 meters away from Chen Haoxian. The current Chen Haoxian was almost to the point of exhaustion. This body of his was already poor. He had been busy making money when he came to the century. He had no time to exercise his body. Seeing the bottle floating on the river 10 meters away, Chen Haoxian fiercely fought. He had to use his last physical strength to fight for a glimmer of hope. Because Chen Haoxian hugged Zhou Kexin's neck from behind, so Zhou Kexin could not see Chen Haoxian's expression, but she could feel Chen Haoxian's fatigue. It turned out that Chen Haoxian's swimming speed was getting slower and slower. "Chen Haoxian, let go of me. If you take me with you, neither of us will survive, and if you're alone, you'll make it back to shore." Zhou Kexin wept with tears streaming down her face. "Since I chose to come and save you, I won't leave you alone, that's my principle, you can't do things halfway. You saw that empty bottle floating on the river. You've got to grab that empty bottle in a minute, okay? Chen Hoxuan panted and advised. Jo Kexin was moved to respond. She was now quite guilty. She had done that to Chen Haoxian before. Chen Haoxian was not angry at all, and now he even sacrificed his life to save her. In her heart, she began to consider becoming Chen Hoxuan's girlfriend if this time she could turn a dangerous situation into a good one. Still 2 meters away, Chen Haoxian couldn't move. He took off, his limbs couldn't make any effort. Since Chen Hoxuan had just stopped, he hadn't dived down yet. Jo Kexin saw Chen Hoxuan suddenly stop and asked curiously, "Chen Hoxuan, what's wrong with you?" Looking at the empty bottle tied with a rope 2 meters away, Chen Haoxian sighed. He faintly said to Jo Kexin, "I saved you, you must give me a good chance to live. Listen, I'm going to push you over hard now, you must use to grab the empty bottle." Chen Hoxuan suddenly shouted. His body was suddenly filled with power. He quickly pushed Jo Kexin towards the empty bottle 2 meters away. After that, Chen Haoxian slowly dived into the water. He had just used a special method to stimulate his body. That method could give you a moment of superhuman strength. This strength could be said to be the last strength of Chen Haoxian's body. Now that his body didn't have a single ounce of strength, Chen Hoxuan was left to his fate, and he was washed away by the river. Jo Kexin managed to grab the empty bottle. After she grabbed the empty bottle, she immediately turned her head and said, "Chen Hoxuan, I've got it, come here quickly." Chen Hoxuan had already been washed away by the river water. Where was Chen Hoxuan's figure? "Chen Haoxian, Chen Haoxian." Jo Kexin began to shout Chen Hoxuan's name with a heartbeat. Hua Lingwei was shouting Chen Hoxuan's name just like Jo Kexin. Jo Kexin didn't see how Chen Hoxuan disappeared, but Hua Lingwei was standing on a high bank. She witnessed Chen Hoxuan slowly dive into the water and then be washed away by the river. She had just witnessed Jo Kexin get caught in the river, and now she witnessed Chen Hoxuan slowly dive into the water and get washed away by the river. Today's blow was really too big for her. Jo Kexin was pulled to shore and the police arrived with a lifeboat. The police began to carefully drive the lifeboat in search of Chen Haoxian. An hour later, the police left, because the storm was approaching, and if they continued to search, it was likely that they would lose their lives along with the search and rescue personnel. Jo Kexin and Hua Lingwei were also forcibly taken home by their families, and those citizens who were watching the wind-blown lang flowers by the river also left. In a luxurious villa, lying on the bed, Jo Kexin was still the same, tears streaming down her face. She kept crying, asking her family to find a way to save Chen Hoxuan. "Dad, I'm begging you, please save Chen Hoxuan, okay? Woo, he was washed away by the river to save me, you have to save him, or I won't live, woo." Ugh. You think I don't want to save it? I don't just want to save him, I want him to be my son-in-law. But no one dares to save them in this weather. Just like Chen Hoxuan saved you, you saved up, but he himself is, alas, only left to his fate. I hope he is still alive. Zhou Xiang, who was sitting by Jo Kexin's bedside, sighed. Sitting on the sofa in Jo Kexin's room, Hua Lingwei, who was bent over, covering her face with her hands and burying her head between her knees, sobbed quietly, her feeble shoulders twitching incessantly. Looking at the water stains on the floor, you can tell that Hua Lingwei cried, and cried for a very long time, very sad. On top of Hua Lingwei's sadness, she also felt guilty. She was blaming herself. If she hadn't asked Chen Haoxian to save Jo Kexin, nothing would have happened to Chen Haoxian. "Kxin, don't worry, Chen Hoxuan will be fine. As soon as the storm stops, I will immediately send a large number of people to search for Chen Hoxuan." Hua Tianyu comforted Jo Kexin. In a small village not far from the University of Xinjiang City, at the entrance of a humble tiled house, a girl stood dumbly at the door, looking out at the non-stop rain. She said worriedly, "Brother Xian, why hasn't he come back yet?" Chapter 28. There was a loud sound of thunder, and Chen Yuna's heart suddenly felt like being pricked by a needle, and at the same time she had a feeling of not pressing in her heart, which seemed to tell her that there would be some kind of disaster. All the people were worried about the comfort of Chen Haoxian, who was at the moment on a tree by the river. He was violently washed up by the river and he had been hanging onto it since then. Chen Haoxian was still unconscious, and after an unknown amount of time, Chen Haoxian slowly woke up. Where is this? Why is it dark? The fragile voice of Chen Haoxian could be heard in the pitch-black night. Since it was night, Chen Haoxian couldn't see his current situation. He felt very sick, so he turned around and with a bang, Chen Haoxian fell into the water again. Fortunately, the wind wasn't blowing now, otherwise Chen Haoxian would definitely be washed away by the river again. During the period when he was unconscious, Chen Haoxian regained some strength, and after he fell into the water, he quickly swam to shore. Where is this? Why is it so dark? You can't see anything. Chen said to himself. Chen was far away from the city, without a lot of lights, so of course it was dark. Chen Haoxian now has nothing but a pair of underwear on him. He is cold, he wants to wear clothes, he wants to roast a fire, but there is no lighter, and now it is raining, so what about finding dry wood? Chen Haoxian touched a stick on the ground. He used it to explore the road, slowly walking. There were trees and weeds all around, there were hillsides and no lights. Chen Haoxian could be sure that his location must be a suburb. After more than an hour of searching, Chen finally found a place where he could rest, at the foot of a mountain, as the bottom of this high mountain was concave, so it could shelter him from the wind and rain. Chen Haoxian's luck was also good. There was a pile of dry wood inside, and next to the dry wood, Chen Haoxian picked up a box of matches. It was a good idea to have the same kind of wood as the ones that were left behind by the villagers in the suburbs, so that they would not have to go through the hassle of finding dry wood when they came back. Chen Haoxian couldn't care less. He pushed up a pile of dry firewood, picked up a match and lit it, and soon the fire caught fire. Wah dash, it's so warm, so comfortable yo. Get warm. Chen Haoxian happy. With the fire there, Chen Haoxian checked the surrounding area where he was and found it empty, nothing but a small pile of dry wood. Chen Haoxian had a tremendous physical exertion today, which made him unconsciously fall asleep by the fire. This night Chen Haoxian slept soundly. He also had a dream that he had become a billionaire. He ate mountains and seafood from all over the world every day, and he was surrounded by countless beautiful women. As the day slowly dawned, an old man dressed in a raincoat and with a beard came to where Chen Haoxian was. People called him Old Man Zhang. He was a hunter. He came to the mountain every day to check the traps he had installed. When he saw a man lying naked and quiet at the foot of the mountain where he often came, it startled him so much that he thought it was a ghost. Old Man Zhang slowly walked over to Chen Haoxian's side and whispered, "Hey, wake up, why are you sleeping here?" Hearing the voice, Chen Haoxian slowly woke up. He turned around and lay on the ground looking at Old Man Zhang, confused. "Who are you?" "My name is Old Man Zhang, I'm a hunter." "Young man, how did you end up in the deep woods?" "It's not very safe, and there are often wild animals, so I suggest you leave quickly." Old Man Zhang was well-intentioned. Chen Haoxian stood up, but he was wobbly. As soon as he stood up, he felt that his limbs were weak and his body was still hot. When Old Man Zhang saw that it seemed as if Chen Haoxian was about to stand unsteadily, he quickly helped Chen Haoxian and asked with concern, "Are you all right?" "It's fine, it's probably just a cold, nothing serious." Chen Haoxian, "You can't continue to stay in the deep mountains in this condition, or it will be dangerous. Come out with me." Old Man Zhang was concerned. "Thank you, Grandpa Zhang, I actually didn't come here to play. I was washed here by the river in the city of Xinchen, and I felt my way to the foot of this mountain last night. Luckily I met you, otherwise I wouldn't know what to do." Chen Haoxian smiled. He was lucky that he couldn't even die from being washed away by the river. A great misfortune will come your way, you will definitely be a great person in the future. Old man Zhang smiled at Chen Haoxian. After helping Chen Haoxian, let's go. I'll hold you up. With the help of old man Zhang, Chen Haoxian walked for 2 hours and finally came out of the deep mountains and arrived at a small village, which old man Zhang said was called East Mountain Village and had 100 or so families. Old man Zhang brought Chen Haoxian to his home, and after tidying up a room he hadn't lived in for a long time, he helped Chen Haoxian lie down on the bed. Chen Haoxian was worried that Chen Yuna and the others were worried, so Chen Haoxian said to old man Zhang, "Grandpa Zhang, can I borrow your cell phone to call me? I want to check in with my friend." "Of course I can, but I don't have a cell phone. I do have a phone, so wait and I'll bring it to you." Old man Zhang smiled. Old man Zhang quickly brought a phone with a phone line attached to it and placed it next to Chen Haohuan. Chen Haohuan dialed Huang Weikan's phone, and after talking to Huang Weikan about the general situation, Chen Haohuan asked Huang Weikan to help him go and tell Chen Yuna that he was now in Dongguan village and would return in a few days, and also help him tell Zhou Kexin and the others that he wasn't dead, he was still alive. Huang Weikan hung up his cell phone and immediately rushed to Chen Haoxian's place. There was no way Chen Yuna and Chen Haoxian were the same people without cell phones. When Huang Weikan told Chen Yuna about Chen Haoxian's situation, Chen Yuna immediately packed her bags and prepared to go to Dongguan village, although Chen Haoxian is now fine, but Chen Yuna still cried. Huang Weikan then went to Zhou Kexin's house to tell Zhou Kexin's family about Chen Haoxian's condition. After Zhou Kexin knew that Chen Haoxian was not dead, she sat up on the bed and cried tears of joy. Hot tears continued to fall from the corners of her eyes, but the corners of her mouth turned up. She was like an angry cuckoo, dipped in the joy of rebirth. Hua Lingwei is even more exaggerated. She jumped up with joy. Too good goo, too good goo. I knew Chen Haohuan would not die like this. Heh heh, la la la, I'm so happy yo, I've never been so happy. Kexin, you stay at home and rest, I'll go to the East Mountain village to see Chen Haoxian. Zhou Xiang's kind voice to his daughter. Chen Haoxian saved his precious daughter. No matter what, he needed to go see Chen Haoxian and thank Chen Haoxian in person for saving his daughter's life. Chapter 29. Zhou Kexin nervously took her dad's hand and pleaded, "Dad, I'm going to." He ignored his own safety to save me. I deserve to go see him. All right? But you need to wear more clothes, or your cold will be worse. Zhou Xiang was helpless. Zhou Xiang left and he went to pack his things to prepare to go to East Mountain village. Hua Lingwei sat on Zhou Kexin's bed and excitedly said to Zhou Kexin, "Kexin, Chen Haoxian almost lost his own life to save you. What did you want to say to him when you met him? Is it a promise of love or?" Zhou Kexin lowered her head, 2 blushes floating on her face, shyly saying, "If he's willing, I can be his girlfriend." Zhou Kexin had considered this idea for a long time. She was very touched every time she thought of Chen Haoxian using his last bit of strength to push her to the edge of the empty bottle floating on the river while he himself slowly disappeared on the surface of the river due to severe dehydration. She thought that Chen Haoxian liked her, otherwise why would he give up his life to save her, and especially told her to live well. Plus, after many times of being with Chen Haoxian, Zhou Kexin discovered that Chen Haoxian was actually a decent gentleman, unlike other people who were like wolves meeting sheep when they saw her. Ah dash, do you want to repay him for saving your life or are you really in love with him? Hua Lingwei was surprised. She was just joking. She didn't expect Zhou Kexin to really have such thoughts. "I think I'm really in love with him." Zhou Kexin's face revealed a happy smile. She who said this felt her heart sweet. She was thinking, is this what it feels like to be in love? It's finished. Hua Lingwei's eyes were expressionless and she kept muttering. "Why Wei, what's finished?" Zhou Kexin asked curiously. "Don't you know that? You don't like Chan Ho Han, so my dad asked me to chase after him, but now you say you like Chan Ho Han, oh my god." You and I have become rivals. Hua Lingwei cryptically laughed. Hearing Hua Lingwei's words, Zhou Kexin became nervous. Hua Lingwei's posture wasn't lower than hers, and she was really worried that Chen Hoxuan would be snatched away by Hua Lingwei. Why Wei, you're not really in love with Chen Hoxuan too, are you? Zhou Kexin asked nervously. Fall in love still, but I quite like him. He is handsome and graceful and pleasing to girls and will make money, and I think as long as the girls will like him like this. Hua Lingwei held her head high, her mind recalling the time she spent with Chen Hoxuan, leisurely. After saying that, Hua Lingwei looked towards Zhou Kexin and found that Zhou Kexin was frowning her willow brows, her eyes showed worry. Hua Lingwei knew that Zhou Kexin was very afraid that she would steal her Chen Haoxian away from her. Zhou Kexin, don't worry. If he likes you too, I'm never going to take it from you. But if he doesn't like you, then I'm sorry, he. Hua Lingwei Yin smiled. He'll like me. If he doesn't like me, why doesn't he care about his own safety to save me? Zhou Kexin nervously explained, her nervous expression as if she was afraid that Hua Lingwei wouldn't believe her. All right. I'm not going to fight you, okay? I was just joking with you. You look nervous. I see that you're not married to Nan Chen Haoxian. Hua Lingwei smiled, she was tongue-in-cheek. She was actually still reluctant to give up on pursuing Chen Hoxuan, but seeing how much her best friend Zhou Kexin liked Chen Hoxuan, she really didn't want to lose this best friend she had played with since childhood. Zhou Kexin hugged Hua Lingwei and said happily, Wai Wei, you're too good to me, thank you, Wai Wei. On the small road to the East Mountain village, a girl with a small bag was walking quickly, her expression seemed very nervous. This person was Chen Yuna. She came here by bus. She got off the bus at the intersection and started walking on foot. There was no way to go directly to the East Mountain village without a car, so she had to get off near the East Mountain village and walk on foot. After 20 minutes of fast walking, Chen Yuna finally arrived at the East Mountain village, and when she was at the entrance of the village, she pulled out a mobile phone, which she had bought when she came here, just so that she could find Chen Hoxuan at the first time when she came to the East Mountain village. She dialed the phone number of Zhang Laohan's house, and when Zhang Laohan received the call, he immediately went to the village entrance to pick up Chen Yuna. Old man Zhang brought Chen Yuna to his home, and when Chen Yuna saw Chen Haoxian lying on the bed, she finally cried out with a wow, her worry, her fear, her tension, finally released at this moment as she cried out. Chen Hoxuan tenderly stroked the head of Chen Yuna who was lying on top of him and smiled, all right? Don't cry, if you cry again, you'll turn into a little kitten. Chen Yuna sat up, held Chen Haoxian's hand tightly and asked with concern, Brother Xian, how are you feeling right now? I'm fine, I just got a cold and caught a cold. Grandpa Zhang has just asked the doctor to see me. I've taken cold medicine and injections. I'll be fine in a few days, don't worry ha. Chen Haoxian comforted Chen Yuna. I'm not worried, as long as Brother Xian is fine. Chen Yuna smiled with tears in her eyes. Chen Yuna and Chen Haoxian slowly chatted. Chen Haoxian told many jokes about the future century in order to coax Chen Yuna to be happy, making Chen Yuna laugh non-stop. At noon, Yuna Chen took the initiative to help Old Man Zhang cook the food. Old Man Zhang, who had nothing to do, came to Chen Haoxian's room, moved a stool to sit by Chen Haoxian's bedside, and chatted with Chen Haoxian's family. Little hen is this girl your girlfriend? She's so hard-working, you're so happy to have a girlfriend like that. Old Man Zhang smiled kindly. Chen Haoxian explained awkwardly, Grandpa Zhang, she's not my girlfriend, she's my sister. Sister? You don't look alike to me. Old Man Zhang was curious. She's my neighbor's child, we both grew up together, and I've always considered her as my own sister. Chen Hoxuan explained. Oh, so that's how it is. It's a pity, I can tell by her looks that this girl is a kind-hearted girl and so hard-working, she will definitely be a super virtuous girl in the future. Old man Zhang joked. Grandpa Zhang, where are your children? Why don't you see them? Chen asked. Oh, them. They've all gone out to work in the city of New Hill. That son of mine works as a security guard at the University of the city of New Hill, but unfortunately he's in his late 30s and hasn't found a girlfriend yet, so I don't know what he's up to. Old man Zhang frowned as he spoke of his son, as if he wasn't very full of him. Ah dash, it can't be that coincidental, can it? I'm studying at the University of Xinshan City. Your son works as a security guard in his 30s, if I'm not mistaken. Is his name Zhang Cheng? Chen Huan asked. Chapter 30. Ah dash, so you know him, so we're pretty much destined to meet. Old man Zhang smiled. I have a small business at the University of Xinshan City now, and I put my goods in his security room there every day, so I can be considered to be very familiar with him. Chen Haoxian smiled. It's good to be familiar with him, it's good to be familiar with him. In the future, please take care of him a little more at the University of Xinshan City. Old man Zhang is here to say thank you first. Old man Zhang was very happy to hear Chen Haoxian say that he was a businessman. His son had been working for more than 10 years and had never had the chance to make a lot of money. Now that Chen Haoxian said that he was a businessman, old man Zhang wondered if he could let Chen Haoxian bring his son to make a little fortune. No problem, if there's a chance, I'll let him go into business with me. Chen Haoxian echoed. He thought he would definitely need a lot of talents to do big business in the future. Getting to know some of them now to pave the way for his future, the road would be easy to follow when he was just developing. Dinner's ready. The crisp voice of Chen Yuna came from outside. As Chen Haoxian was trying to get up to go out to eat, Chen Yuna ran in with a large bowl in her hand. Brother Xian, don't get up, just stay in bed, I brought you the food, you try how my cooking is today. Chen Yuna smiled sweetly at Chen Haoxian. My nana's cooking, you don't need to taste it to know that it's a delicacy. Chen Haoxian took the large bowl that Yuna Chen served him and flattered him. Just know how oily it is. Chen Yuna's mouth was complaining that Chen Haoxian shouldn't have flattered her, but her heart was very sweet. Mouth not heart. Sometimes girls are so strange, they obviously say they hate it, but their hearts are very much like it. After finishing lunch, Chen Haoxian proposed to go back. Old man Zhang wanted to retain Chen Haoxian and wait for Chen Haoxian's cold to get better before letting Chen Haoxian go back, but he couldn't be stubborn enough to go. Old man Zhang prepared a lot of mountain goods for Chen Haoxian. These mountain goods, if sold to the hotel, thousands of yuan can definitely be sold. Chen Haoxian didn't have anything, so he put on the clothes Chen Yuna had brought him and left on Chen Yuna's fragile shoulder. As for those mountain goods that old man Zhang gave Chen Haoxian confiscated them. He now needed help himself, that had the strength to lift so many things. Chen Haoxian and the others didn't go far before they saw two black cars parked in front of them. The doors were opened, and a bright figure came down and ran quickly towards Chen Haoxian. Chen Haoxian. Zhou Kexin, who saw Chen Haoxian, shouted with great joy. Then, a few people came down from the two sedans one after another, Zhou Xiang, Hua Tianyu, and Hua Lingwei. Zhou Kexin ran to Chen Haoxian, tightly pulled Chen Haoxian's hand, tears of joy. Chen Haoxian, you are fine, really good, you do not know how worried I was about you yesterday, sob. Saying that, Zhou Kexin even cried. She was not sad, but too happy, so happy that she couldn't control her tears. Hey, Chen Haoxian, you made me worry and be sad for you for so long, you have to make it up to me later, okay? Hua Lingwei joked to Chen Haoxian. I know, I'll make it up to you in the future, hee hee. Chen Haoxian looked lustful to Hua Lingwei. He found that he quite enjoyed catching this naughty girl. Following Chen Haoxian's gaze, Hua Lingwei looked down, two blushes appeared on her face, and she squealed, "Where are you looking?" Hua Lingwei said quickly, using her hands to protect her chest. She was happy and shy, happy because Chen Hoxuan seemed to be interested in her body, shy because Chen Hoxuan was staring lustfully at her neckline. It was obvious that Chen Hoxuan was looking at her breasts openly and honestly. Chen Haoxian, what's wrong with you? Why do you need to be held? Are you hurt? Zhou Kexin was worried when she saw Chen Yuna holding onto Chen Haohuan. It's nothing, just a bit of a cold. Chen Haoxian smiled and replied, in fact, he was not just as simple as a cold, his body was severely dehydrated because of yesterday, and to return to normal, he must need to recuperate for a month. You also have a cold, quick get in the car, I'll take you to the hospital. Zhou Kexin was nervous. Chen Hoxuan hasn't come in a hurry to answer Zhou Kexin's words, but Chen Yuna answered before anyone else. Chen Yuna boarded a face to Zhou Kexin, no need for your kindness, we'll just take the bus ourselves. Chen Yuna was angry with Zhou Kangxin. If it wasn't for saving Zhou Kangxin, her brother Xian wouldn't have become as sickly as he is now, and no longer had his previous energetic appearance. Little Xian, you guys look like you're going back to the city, right? Just come back with us. With your current body, it's inconvenient to take the bus, and the bus is very crowded. Zhou Xiang suggested out loud. At this time, a BMW drove over, because this road was very narrow and could only pass one car at a time, so the BMW was honking constantly there, urging Zhou Xiang's car to drive away quickly for them. The first thing you need to do is to take a look at the car, and then you'll see the BMW's door open, and down comes Huang Weikan. Mr. Zhou, why are you here? Isn't Dongshan village up ahead? Why are you guys parked here? Huang Weikan spoke loudly to Zhou Xiang, who was 10 meters away. He also came to see Chen Haoxian. Not only did he come, but her daughter as well. You're also here to see little Xian, right? You wouldn't have to go to East Mountain Village if it was you, because he's right here. Zhou Xiang saw that it turned out to be an acquaintance, so he didn't drive any further. Hearing Zhou Xiang's words, Huang Weikan turned his head and shouted to the people in the car, Lin, get out, your brother Xian is here. Huang Meilin got out of the car and said to his dad, really? So where is he? Hurry up to me. It should be just ahead. Huang Weikan pointed ahead. Brother Xian, brother Xian. Huang Meilin was running while calling out loudly for Chen Haoxian. I'm here. Hearing Huang Meilin's voice, Chen Haoxian responded loudly. After finding Chen Haoxian, Huang Meilin pounced on Chen Haoxian without saying a word. Her pounce almost knocked Chen Haoxian down, thanks to Chen Yuna's efforts to hold Chen Haoxian down. Be careful, his body is very weak right now, and he has a fever and a cold. Chen Yuna instructed Huang Meilin. Brother Xian, you've got a cold. Then get in my dad's car and I'll have my dad take you to the hospital. Huang Meilin was concerned. Riding in Zhou Kexin's and their car, Chen Yuna didn't like it. She didn't want Chen Hoxuan to get involved with them too much. As for Huang Meilin's family's car, she didn't have to think too much about it. Even if Huang Meilin, the little girl, liked Chen Haohuan wouldn't like a girl that much younger than him, so Chen Yuna helped Chen Haohuan into Huang Weikan's BMW.